Raise your horns high and let your spirit flow. It's the classic metal wrap-up show. Feel the rush, let the loudness grow. It's the classic metal wrap-up show.
Yeah, we're...
So,
What's up, everybody?
what's up, everybody? I mean, what'd you think of the show last night, the CMS? They continue down the path of, it's just limping along, really.
Yeah, Wendell, I don't need to hear about your viewing habits.
Oh, yeah.
No, I just don't. Like the very beginning of the show, he goes into a monologue the first hour about what he watched.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to hear about that, dog. Like there's thousands and thousands and thousands of things online to watch. The chances I'm gonna fucking take your fucking information or your recommendation and sit down and fucking go search this shit out and watch it. Maybe the Led Zeppelin thing applied because it's Led Zeppelin,
right?
But they constantly stroke Zeppelin, and even then they fabricate their own history with that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who was doing that in 1968? Motherfucker, you ever heard of Jimi Hendrix Experience?
And
It was before Led Zeppelin. Have you ever heard of Cream?
They
were before Led Zeppelin, bro. And they were just as loud and just as bombastic and playing just as heavier riffs as anybody else. So that whole talk to me is like revisionist history because they're on the jock straps of fucking Jimmy Page, the fucking chomo. I'm just going to say it.
Right. He was into the teens.
Wendell is always in favor of Page because Page is him. A walking pedophile, a walking 70-year-old man who wants to get in the fucking chonies of a 15-year-old girl. That's what he is, dude. So I'm not pulling punches no more. I'm just being straight about it. And people can say, well, why would Evil say that? Go look it up, dude. Jimmy Page has a history of dating women who are like a third younger, a quarter younger of his age, dude. And so that's not when in Evil's world, like Jimmy Page can get away with that because he has hundreds of millions of dollars until it was Evil's daughter. Then it wouldn't matter how much money you had, Mr. Page. I'd beat the fucking shit out of you straight up, dude. So now their parents may say, we'll look the other way because he's rich. But either way, it's a bad look, dude. And another step where he's like constantly like giving that guy and Led Zeppelin all this benefit of the doubt. It's very clear in current recorded digital history 2025 internet that they stole songs.
Oh yeah,
they
I was going to bring that up.
People's riffs. This motherfucker, you'll all laud him for the sounds he made in the studio. Those sounds were other people's sounds he stole, bro.
Right.
So like maybe those other musicians in the time wouldn't say that because that wasn't cool to do in the media. Maybe that wouldn't have been the way it goes. But I know there are people that in that scene that thought the same thing. That thought, this guy's just ripping off other people's riffs, putting a spin on it, and they got a great drummer. That's really what they had, the big fucking drummer.
Right.
So, cool, but if you're asking me, Jimi Hendrix could play fucking in his sleep better than Jimmy Page can play awake with 84 hours in the studio recording, dude.
Sure.
Eric Clapton can bend a fucking note that give you fucking more emotion in a second than fucking Jimmy Page could in a lifetime. So that's just Evil's take. I'm not knocking him. I like some Zeppelin. I like Physical Graffiti. There's some albums I like, but I'm not going to sit here and just go on and on. They were the biggest, greatest band of all the history. I don't buy that shit. That's all Peter Grant fluff. That's all media boisterous bullshit. The Stones have been around longer and are bigger. Imagine that.
Sure.
The fucking Stones pull into town with 50 fucking trucks. And every band in the industry currently knows that who has the most crew and the biggest dogs that pulls into the stadium with the most people wins. And right now, who can do it bigger?
Right.
I'll wait. Because I'm telling you right now, no one's doing it bigger than Keith Richards, dude. It's just being straight about it. So, and I'm not saying Zeppelin couldn't go out and do that, but they've never gotten it back together once Bonzo died. And quite frankly, that magic has never resurfaced again. And to constantly go back to what something was in 1980 or 75 or 74 or 68 is cool. But let's not change history here, dude. There was a bunch of other bands in 1968 who were making all kinds of racket just like Zeppelin was.
Like Deep Purple. I mean, in Europe, they are
bigger.
Pretty big. Yeah, they're a big
they're
band.
monstrous.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And overseas, you go to Japan, you go to some of these other places. I don't know what Zeppelin did over there, but I know for a fact that some of those other bands go to Australia and Japan and sell out some big fucking places, dude. And what's all I'm saying is I'm not knocking. I'm not saying they don't have their place in history. They're definitely a top 5 or top 10 rock band of all time. I'm just saying, like, they always get on the nuts, especially Wendell, and goes on and on and on about the Zeppelin, the Zeppelin, the Zeppelin. I don't need to see another documentary about Led Zeppelin, bro. I read books back in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
I don't need to hear nothing different then. So, let's just be realistic. Yes, they were big and they had released 2 big albums in 68, 69, 70. They dropped some killer shit that kind of shook the rock world for sure. But there was already guys on the side who play guitar who were like, I can mop the floor with this dude. And one of them was Richie Blackmore, and one of them was Eric Clapton, and one of them was Jimi Hendrix until he died. So, even, let's be real, even Jimmy Page would tell you that Jimi Hendrix is on another level, bro.
Sure.
He just is. He always was.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
I think with Hendrix, he was an innovator, similar to like Van Halen, Eddie.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
it's like he was doing something so off the wall and different that
If you were to
stood out.
ask me right now, who are the top innovative, influential, best guitar players of all time, Jimi Hendrix is still number 1. Eddie Van Halen is number 2 because of how they changed the way people played the instrument, perceived what the instrument could do, how it could sound, and the way that they could structure songs around their guitar playing, which quite frankly, prior to Jimi Hendrix was not really being done. I mean, Clapton and Cream started doing it where it was definitely guitar driven. This is my solo is as important as what you're singing. But prior to that, ladies and gentlemen, the vocals were everything. The solos were nil. They were very little, if there was even a solo at all. So, and I would probably say third is Richie Blackmore. And I'm going to tell you why. Even though he played the Stratocaster and then people look at that kind of like a Hendrixy tone, he brought in all the classical shit. All the shit that Randy Rhoads would later do, all the shit that Yngwie does all that stuff now. All those shredders do that stuff that really Richie Blackmore brought in that classical shredding style into the guitar playing. So to me, those are the top 3 players. I love Jimmy Page, but he's sloppy. He's like Ace Frehley. He's a good guitar player, but he's sloppy, dude. Like he's actually watching. He misses as many notes as he fucking picks, bro. And so, I mean, he's just got a sloppiness to his tone and his playing. Almost, I don't care. I'm on drugs kind of a thing.
Right.
Cool. But Uli John Roth would fucking mop the floor with this dude. You know what I'm saying?
That fucking guy, he's great. Yeah.
Michael Schenker would get up there and rip fucking leads around Jimmy Page's head that Jimmy Page would be like, what is this guy doing? So I'm just saying, there's guitar players out there, and I'm not knocking them. I love Robert Plant's voice, and John Paul Jones is an amazing bass player. And to me, the biggest talent in the band was the guy on the drums, the big motherfucker who was loud, bombastic, changed the way you saw drumming. Didn't no longer hold the beat in the background like Ringo. He was like, I'm going to be as big and as loud as everyone else on stage. And that's what Bonzo brought to the band. And yes, a lot of those bands, Charlie Rott's The Rolling Stones is not no Bonzo. There's, the only other person you could say is kind of like Bonzo was Ginger Baker of Cream. Maybe Carmine Appice back in those days.
The Cactus shit. Yeah,
exactly. So, I mean, there were some guys doing it, but it wasn't, those guys are pretty few and far between on the drums. So a lot of them were more of the jazz, Ringo, Charlie Watts style playing. So anyways, I just get tired of hearing that. And he goes on and on about Zeppelin. He'll go on and on about what he watched. Bro, we understand at 60 years old, you're home on the couch more than you're out doing stuff. And we understand you watch TV. We all got TV. We all got the internet. We can watch whatever we want. But going on and on about some of these shows. And then they get on about the girls and the talking about well, let's be straight, the young girls who are
it's always 20-something-year-olds, right? Or barely legal.
Yeah, and hey, like, again, if she's legal, what can we say? That's their thing. That's what I still think it's a little weird for a 60-something-year-old man to constantly be eyeballing a 21-year-old girl. That's just my thing.
Right.
But and they might think I'm weird for looking at Lorraine Lewis and thinking, Granny looks pretty hot. I might say hi to Lorraine Lewis. So everybody's got their thing, right? Yeah. So who knows?
So out of curiosity, did you, because I missed exactly what they were, I know they had access to some 4 photos or something like that, but they were like salivating, like teenagers, right? Over photos. And I don't know, did you catch how that all happened? I think wasn't it another person in the chat room that shared snapshots or something like that? And then, I mean, just the fact that they're, I don't know. To me, it just seems like at no point do they ever think that what they're doing is sad and pathetic, disturbing, perverted, and just gross, right? I mean, coming from a
And it's
guy's
not even
perspective.
being done in a comical way. I hope you all
No,
understand. I would never walk
predatory.
around how I'm dressed right now
It's like
in real life,
predatory.
ladies and gentlemen. I do this for you on this
I
screen.
I almost thought there for a minute maybe Neely was going to go join Chevy Metal.
Exactly. So he hang out, be the roadie, the personal assistant for
Yeah,
Brent and the boys.
right.
Brent and the boys.
And the boys.
Anyways, I should just make quick. Y'all are wondering what is the background. I'm out here on the road with LA Guns. Tracy's
yeah.
got a gig. It's hot as hell right now, so I'm in the bathroom with Tracy. He's playing, and I'm over here doing. He said I could stay in here in the AC with him for a bit while he shreds away on the guitar.
Right.
So if you're wondering, that's who's behind me. It's Tracy. He's playing. So it is late June, almost July, right? So he
Right.
starts getting the the heat exhaustion and the phobia from the heat or something.
Right.
So.
Heat stroke.
Anyways, back to the CMS. Yeah, it's just weird. It's just a weird look, and like they never bring up pictures of Lita Ford and go, well, let's see what she's doing. What is she looking like? Like, because she's older, right? So she's out of the picture, right?
Yeah.
So it's like always got to be this 30 to 18, and then when you look at who's saying this, because I'm in my
Right.
mid 40s, these
Sure.
dudes are in their 60s, and they're saying this. That's weird to me, yo.
Yeah.
So. Hey, everybody their own thing. I'm just saying that's weird. And they go on and on about it. We get a whole segment of photos of them gawking at some girl.
Yeah.
Gawk at some girl on your own time, bro. We want to talk about
Right.
rock music. I'm here about metal and rock
mean,
and this, that.
They've made it clear that they would entertain the idea of watching AI pornography and getting a robotic female. You know what's funny though? I thought it was hysterical that it's almost kind of one of those things where again the distortion of kind of what they see themselves at. And I'll go back to several weeks or just pick a week. Anytime, I'm surprised he didn't mention, I don't believe he did anyways, that she looks like a gal or a girl that he dated. Now, having grown up, obviously not a good looking dude myself, but having grown up around friends that were, who's good looking, who has, the athletic kind of model-esque, yeah, well, like you, not me. But having said that, I mean, again, having grown up with those guys, the amount of tail that Neely claims to have obtained would probably surpass guys that I know for a fact are good looking, handsome, or attractive and get the attention of the ladies. I don't think he's ever been handsome. Do you? I mean, I think even as a guy, you kind of know who's who. You know the pecking order, right?
Well, come on. Yeah, absolutely you do. And you should be self-aware enough to know your role in the pecking order. Evil has
Right.
no illusions that at my age with this scoofy fucking wig on to look like my brother and this
You're
outfit,
gonna get Sydney Sweeney.
This shirt it
you
is.
know?
I'm gonna get Cindy Sweeney to come over and what's up, baby? You want to come backstage with Dockin? So no. The reality is know where your role, as one wise man once said, and shut your fucking mouth is what the second part of
Right.
that was. But they don't seem to do the second part, especially my brother. He likes to just go on and on. No, sometimes a wise man once told me that the man that's doing all the chirping and talking about what he did and what he got didn't do and didn't get shit.
Right. Oh, yeah. I think we've had a conversation just offline where we've been discussing stuff about, well, who do you think has been in a fist fight out of those two idiots? Well, we know Chris probably has, just based on the descriptions of some of the scrapping that he's done. I don't think Neely's ever been in a real fight. And I think just that whole incident with the car is just further proof. I could totally, again, the guy was probably hiding under the desk because he's that much of a wuss, and he can pack all the heat he wants, but with that frail kind of cowardly personality that he has, there's no way he would use them. I mean, they'd get turned on him, I think.
Absolutely, 100% in the streets, and with anyone that knows what they're doing, it would not, it would be a useless tool for someone like that. I mean, it's a boisterous position by
Sure.
someone who has nothing to back it. And so Aiken, I would 100% believe because of his military career.
Hmm.
If you drink in the military, especially back in the 70s and 80s, and spent some time in the service, there's probably a good chance you got in a couple of these somewhere along the line and had at least had your nose broke like Evil has a few times in fisticuffs. So it happens. But I do believe Chris, and he's the kind of guy I get the vibe that, he's kind of, he'll let you know, and then after that, you're not going to hear nothing else. And then here comes a shot to your face. That's the guy that's usually going to do that. Guys like Wendell, who are always trying to negotiate and work things out and come to a settlement. He wants to settle up with everybody. That's an appeasement. That's the way to, this is why when Don sends him in there. So, cause Don's probably a hothead. Fuck them. They didn't fucking want to pay, or they want to, I'm Don Doc, and Wendell, go negotiate for me. And Wendell goes in there, oh, Don's hot. Come on, guys. How can we figure this out? That's Wendell's style. And whatever.
Do you think at some point, do you think at some point he goes, I'll suck your cock?
or I'll pay you to make this go away. I'll pay you to make it go away. So he just seems like that kind of guy, So whatever. But the bottom line is, he talks like he's got all these guns, the truck, the chicks, that.
And he does, but it means nothing if you're not going to utilize the arsenal.
What good is having a 10, 1-0 as a woman? Right. He's given the ratings 1 to 10. He's saying he gets tens.
Yeah.
What's good? What good is it to have a 10 and not enter her bare and raw and feel a motherfucker?
Well,
this dude has admitted he's never had sex without a prophylactic.
Right.
So he's never felt what a woman feels like. You follow me? He's felt a condom. Yeah. That's what he's felt. So in my world, in Evil's world, if you gave me a 10, and I don't know what my 10 would be, I'd have to think long and hard, maybe like Selma Hayek in her prime or something, right? I would fucking be putting babies in her belly as quickly, like in the first 24 hours. They'd be like, this is what I need to do because I'm planting my flag in this situation and claiming this is my shit because it's a fucking 10. I don't know what this guy is talking about. That's the ultimate male instinct, I thought. That's what dudes are supposed to want to do. Right. Yeah, you claim your shit, you take her. This guy's over here like, I don't know. Everything seems like a business transaction or
because it is.
Yeah, that's my point. And so it's like nothing is like real here. It's like the same as the persona. That's not the persona, ladies and gentlemen. It's not real. And so, now we could do it parody and have fun with it and there was a period where they definitely brought a lot of humor, but lately, man, I'm just struggling. I'm sitting here listening. I'm going, God damn, guys, when will you? Now they eventually got to some musical topics, but you had to sit through a lot of stuff to get to it, and it's like, man, how much time are we wasting on my clock here listening to your personal life?
And I think the clones and drunks and whatever it is that they're high on in the chat room, I mean, they have zero life. Like that's part of their existence, right? I mean, because they keep encouraging the nonsense, and who knows, they could very well incorporate that video questions, but it's going to be the same idiots. I mean, it's going to be, Sal, and probably Shelly Rocks, and I mean, zero mention of Barden, and I don't know if Tim James is in the Rumble chat. I don't know what his handle will be, but I don't believe so.
See it. I think timing wise, with him being in Australia, probably so tough. But what I will say on that is, I don't know if you caught that part, but Aiken made it very clear, and he did so really in 2 different segments. If you listen to it, Evil's the kind of guy I may be doing the dishes, folding the laundry, making sure my kids eating dinner, going to bed, whatever. I'm listening to the CMS in the background, but I'm listening. He made mention that for people, so this is. For all you to be aware, the reason why Evil, again, even if I wanted to pay the money, he made it clear on last night's show, someone like Evil, who he doesn't like, or who doesn't like Wendell, or vice versa, he will take your money and give you the boot.
Right.
So he said, even if you paid a 1-year subscription, fuck you.
Yeah.
Which I think is like So that's how you do business, dude. You routinely take people's money and not render service, because
Like
that's pretty much
IT,
what you're doing.
IT.
Now
It's
you're
like,
trying
oh,
to
wait
say,
a minute,
well,
you're
yeah,
associated with
I'm
Black Lives Matter, so I'm going to opt out.
starting to wonder if some of the business that comes and goes with Aiken IT is because services aren't being rendered. I don't
Well,
know. I
and
mean, it's just like,
that might explain all those goofy ads and the weirdest spots in those clips.
clips.
You know,
Yeah.
the
And so
audio.
then he made it clear later in the show that unless he gets some IT work, he does need the money. So later he admitted that he's on
Yeah.
the financials. So this is why he's taking people's money. He would let Evil sign up, take my yearly subscription, and give me the fucking boot. And anyone else that he doesn't like, all you have to do is get on his wrong side. He said
Right.
all you have to do is annoy him, or he doesn't like you, and you're
Yeah.
gone. So cool, dude.
Right,
Again,
right.
this is the show that used to preach what? Freedom of speech.
Beach. Yeah.
No
right.
censorship.
None
Free
of that.
show. Everyone can join in and talk.
No paywalls
That's
like
all-
like
no-
Eddie Trunk at Sirius.
Yeah, put 10 years later, a little success under them, and now you got to pay fees. Now
Right.
they're the master of the domain. They're the Howard Stern and can decide who and who can't talk, when and how they can talk, and why they can talk, and on and on and on. It's a fucking joke. And
now,
so
what
this
do
is what's
you-
driving? This is why the Wrap Up Show
Right.
exists.
What do you make of, because again they referenced Florentine and Jameson, who they used to call the unfunny one, which I agree. You know, I wouldn't back out of that. I don't think Jameson is funny at all. I've listened to all his comedy albums that have come out on Metal Blade, and I was like, "Ugh, not very good.
I listened
Cringy.
to
Cringy.
one
Mhm.
stand up, and I was like,
Yeah, not good at all. Florentine, again, having heard him on Stern and over that Crank Yankers was really lame. I think cringy shit. But his podcast is cool. But again, I tend to think that they're being manipulated or used into falling into, you know, some kind of a big joke over this whole thing. I'm thinking that they hope that their relationship with Florentine is going to result in acknowledgement from Trunk, which I don't think it'll ever happen.
why would it? What is Ed Trunk going to get out of trying to bring up them? What is
Right.
Ed Trunk? Okay, I'll pose it to you better. This if that's the logic, y'all are reaching. Name one time that Ed
Mhm.
Trunk has promoted anyone else's show
Other than
I
him.
dare you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never. He would never say you can catch this guy on that station, or this guy's doing that in New York City on da da da. He never mentions nothing like that. And if he does, it's because he's forced into a conversation with the guest via an interview or something. No offense to Ed, but Ed's a one man, one train, one way, one flag, going the Ed Trunk way on Sirius and his shows, and that's all he cares about. And I don't blame him. That's
No.
in this. Once you start doing something like we're doing here, this is what you got to do, is focus on you. You can't be
Right.
paying attention to them. We only are even bothering to listen to the CMS at this point because we're technically the Wrap Up Show, and that's
Right.
supposedly my brother.
Yeah. We're doing what they do. We're using other people's content for content. But
Hey, Jim and them do it to Corey Feldman all day, every day.
Oh, that's right.
I like if you get none of you out there, check out that look up Guru and MMA. He does the MMA commentary, and his videos are awesome. And all he does is play other people's shit and knock them and show you how stupid this shit is. So, hey, that's kind of what we're doing here. We're just having fun. Again, I said it last week, I'll say it this week. That whole him lodging those local Ohio commercials.
Oh, yeah.
Hire the cover band.
Yeah,
and
the
do
cover
this.
band.
And then that's interceded with your YouTube commercials or Rumble commercials if you don't pay for those. Because I tried it on my Rumble where I don't have a subscription. And I was like, oh my God, how could you watch this? You're getting a commercial every 3 to 5 minutes at longest, sometimes quicker.
But Sirius sucks because they have commercials.
Well, again, I would take I'd rather have a 1 minute or 2 minute break where I know this
Right.
is what's going on and they're talking for a second. Now I'm back to whatever I'm doing. Then I get into something for 1 minute and 30 seconds, and now I'm hearing about an Ohio cover band for an hour and 30 seconds. Then I go back to listening for 2 minutes, and now I'm back to hearing Rumble give me a commercial. What?
Yeah.
So that's why I said on this show, ladies and gentlemen, I don't care. It could be Howard Stern himself, and then Evil's gonna look at him and go, "Hey, you want to sponsor our show? We'll mention that at the beginning or at the end, but we're not putting shit in the middle. Who's doing that? I ain't doing that."
And what about the mentality of the loser clones that it's always the same people making the requests, and again, it kind of goes back to how zero life they have. It's like I want to hear my name
Yeah,
on
that could definitely be part of it.
over the air, which isn't even a terrestrial radio. It's just online, and yeah, I'm just like,
Well, that is a
sad
weird thought
existence.
process because many of you out there are going to say, well, then what would make Evil and Ruben different than those guys? Well,
Right.
first off, I listened to the CMS for about 10, 11 years for anyone in any CMS circles ever even knew who I was because I had no reason to comment, no reason to have a pass code name or a chat room name or this. I just listened. That's all I did. Listen. Later, when I started chatting with Andrew via the group,
Yeah.
realizing we had similar feelings about some of these topics, and I thought I was on an island. I thought I was the only one who thought this character from Pennsylvania is a strange cat, and I realized no, there's other people like me who think this is weird too. And so, and sometimes, honestly, it's kind of like Feldman.
Yeah.
I don't watch Feldman because I thoroughly enjoy his entertaining values. It's almost like trying to watch a car accident.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what you're doing. And in the CMS, it's kind of over the last few years devolved to that for me too, where I like the old segments and going back and hearing some of the actual humor. But these current segments, it's just kind of like waiting for the car accident. I'm waiting for them to wreck. And that's usually what ends up happening somewhere, at least once a show. They stick their own foot in their mouth and spew some shit that's just not true, like the Carol K nonsense.
Carol K. And
we can
zero
go on and
mentions,
on.
no retractions at, oh, we got it wrong.
Yeah, no, hey, we totally screwed that up.
Yeah,
Sorry,
we
guys.
screwed the pooch on that one.
Yeah, like just admit it. I mean, whatever. But to do it 2 shows back to back and then to leave it radio silence,
Right.
it's just weird, dude. It's just weird.
And maybe that's what Neely should have done, is watch the Wrecking Crew documentary all over again, so he could get straight on the fact that that was not the Carol K that dated Paul Stanley.
Yeah, the chances that Paul Stanley was going to date a woman 20 to 30 years older than him, who I'm just going to take a guess, and this is completely my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Carol K doesn't even play on the same team.
No. Right.
I think she's playing for the other team. I think her and Paul would be out trying to pick up chicks together at the bar. Right. That's my guess.
So now that
I'm just saying, she never said that to me.
Yeah.
I just watched a couple of interviews
Now-
and got
now you had
a feeling.
You had a Crow Bar Pride Month at the last Sunday of the month. But speaking of Pride Month, how do you think Drake is celebrating? Because I guess he's got 2 bitches in the house now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Pride Month.
Yeah. Yes. And he's in a band called BBM.
Yeah.
Big Bowel Movement. Brother Blow Me.
Yeah. I think it's Brother Blow Me. I think it's Brother Blow Me.
So like I said to Andrew in the chat on that one, like if he's if I'm a singer, if I'm the guy who's got a voice worthy of being in a band, playing out and doing gigs, I'm going to have a little say in what band I'm fronting and what names on that marquee and what it looks like and the logo and the general visual presentation. And Drake in his first band I saw the video of was dressed in motocross gear on stage with the other guys wearing their motocross gear. Now, I don't know. Like, I don't know where I come from. Motocross and a rock band has nothing to fucking do with each other. And why would you be wearing? It's like a guy in the army gear on stage or a guy in a sailor's outfit. It's like,
you mean like Sabaton?
Yeah, I mean, if that's like your band's, yeah, exactly. Or like Slipknot, that's your like permanent, like this is my outfit for the fucking CMS to become Evil Keneally. I can get it if that's what he's going to do every show. But I saw other videos where they weren't doing that, so I didn't understand why would the one show get the motocross gear? What was special about that show? And he actually commented and talked a bunch of shit about, well, it's your opinion, it looked cool.
But you have to be somewhat masculine. I mean, if you're going to throw on motocross gear, right? I mean, or combat gear, you better look damn masculine.
I guess that's what his thought process was.
That he looks masculine.
Douchey. And I would
he should stick to
if he's
bunny suit.
That's my point. If you're like a dude who's like actually trying to have any self-respect, and I mean, this is bad. Again, this is as putting this stuff on is a lot of work, ladies and gentlemen. I have to actually take a few moments out of my life to do that, which is something Evil is not generally inclined to do at all. But would you ever see Evil in a bunny suit? Would you ever see Evil in motocross gear if I wasn't on a fucking dirt bike riding in a fucking event doing wheelies? Would you ever
Ooh.
see me dressed as a fucking garbage man?
Well, for Halloween.
I'm not a garbage man.
For Halloween.
That's not my
well,
point. We'll give you the one time a year at a party
Right.
or something. But I'm saying generally these
Sure.
guys are going on stage wearing this shit. And then he joins a band called Brother Believe Me.
Oh, it
BBM?
isn't Blow Me, huh?
I thought
What
it
is
was,
belie-
but apparently it's Brother Believe Me.
Oh.
What does that even mean? A and B. How if you're John Drake?
Well,
if you're
maybe
joining a
it-
band,
maybe
why
it's-
would you not say, "Yo, time out, time out. We got to get a new name in here, guys."
But wait a minute. Maybe he did name it because it's Brother Believe Me, I married that fucking pig wife. You know,
That
maybe
could
that's
very
what
well
it
be
is.
his own.
But you know, she's such a
proclamation.
hottie that she's got what's his face, Aiken, drooling and salivating all over her like she's that girl that we were talking about, the 20-year-old that does the food delivery things, or the Sydney Sweetie. I mean, the way he builds her up is like she's a solid 10. It's disgusting.
If you're a 60-year-old man, if you're got caterpillar eyebrows and you dye your hair and use hairspray and makeup, and if the other one's in his sweatpants and 400 plus pounds of sweat hog, the chances that they're gonna get any action from any women is slim to fucking none. And I'm not knocking Steph at all. She might have a great body and be a fantastic woman for all I
don't
know.
think so.
I just think her husband's a complete fucking moron.
Well, that I agree with.
And I'm gonna just again, I don't know this. My opinion, Evil's opinion. I got a feeling she wears the pants in that relationship.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's why I was leading to with the you have to be masculine. Now, real quick though, there was a point where one of the episodes a couple weeks back, where they referenced the women's liberation era. And make me a sandwich. It's like, who are they going to ask to make a sandwich? They can't get a chick. Oh, not without payment.
You better just keep ordering your sandwiches from Jimmy John's there, boys, because ain't no woman with the way you guys talk and act is going to be making shit for either one of you anytime soon. And my guess at your age, you've resigned yourself to that fact. I think that's kind of why they go down the path they do. They just start running their mouths, get a couple cocktails and start chit chatting. And then all of a sudden he's, making racist statements, sexist statements. Fuck this, do that. I'm the top 10 guy, fucking blah, 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 with my truck and my guns, whatever, dude. Again, all bluster, all
Dock
show,
and bike.
all show. That right there, all show, no go. All show, no go, bro. There's some real bikers out there, bro, who would really like show you quickly what biking's all about and what the culture that exists, and that bike is beautiful and just getting wasted seeing somewhere in a garage where there's some Hells Angels out here in California and Oregon that would love to just rip that thing down I-5 and full throttle.
And I'm thinking that that new truck he bought has to be push button 4-wheel drive. I don't think he could put anything in 4-wheel drive unless it had a fucking button.
He's not jumping out and locking hubs like the old
he's
days.
A fucking
or anything.
shithead.
No.
Shithead pussy with fucking lunch lady arms.
Where would he 4-wheel drive? Like, where is he going to go do that? Like,
well, probably over a Black Lives Matter protest, because he's so tough.
Or doing some donuts in a cornfield in Indiana or some shit.
Right.
I mean, I'm not saying they don't have hills there. I'm just saying I don't think there's mountains per se. And last time I checked, most of the stuff out there is pretty.
Another hysterical moment. Do you remember the part where he was talking about that your actions wouldn't, that you do online would then come back and not look very favorable with your employer? And I'm thinking, oh, you're one to talk.
I 100% was like again, like the hypocrisy sign starts flashing in my mind when he starts talking like that. And because not only that, but if you think about it, if I was a prospective internet guy, I need a website, and I'm hearing Aiken, he's got Aiken IT, and I hear him talk about, well, I'm kind of broke and I'll take your money and not give you service and blah, fuck you.
Yeah, no shit.
Why would I hire that guy? So both of them have a way of kind of constantly shooting themselves in the foot right there on the air.
Well, I'm
guessing they're assuming that zero. Well, let's be real. When I logged on to Rumble to see what numbers, I'm always curious how many people are watching this besides me and Ruben.
Yeah.
And last night, they could have had more. I didn't watch the numbers the whole time, but the 2 times I logged into the actual numbers and saw who's viewing, it was in the 200 to 300s. us. So I'm guessing they're figuring we have under 500 viewers total on one of these shows. So there's no way our coworkers or our other people are actually jumping in here to hear this. But when they record it and then put it back on other platforms where it stays until Aiken takes it off the internet himself to put more commercials in it. It's going to eventually bite. That's my point. Sometimes I'm just like, guys, the statements you're making are so hypocritical. And then when they do make an honest, heartfelt statement, like Aiken said last night, I'm not going to see this band because they're bad. And I'm not going to see Dawkins because they're bad. Yeah. And Wendell was like, this was like, I'm not even going to acknowledge that statement was made.
Right.
So, but I'm glad at least we heard a sliver of truth come through the microphone from Mr. Aiken.
And then I don't get the whole. I guess he did a viewer movie with Grampula.
Yes, I didn't. Again, I'm not into the movies, so I used to listen to Cap when they were just chit chatting it up about Eric's gigs and this and that, or for a while there he was talking about his gear and his guitars, his endorsements and things he's doing, and that honestly interests me far more as a musician than the other stuff. He starts going into the Grampula. What do you call it? Fucking character, I guess. The vampire character.
With the faux hawk or whatever.
Yeah, they start reviewing these movies that I never watched back then. I would never watch now, and I'm not going to watch even when you're talking about them, boys, no matter how much. I just can't. I'm just not my thing.
I might do I am Grampula. I am here to suck your cock.
So, I mean, I don't like him. If that's his thing, cool. But like that's definitely not making me tune into Cap. And I'm sure there's other people like me who are here seeing those segments and just hitting skip.
I've never watched that at all. I think I watched like a couple minutes and it gave me a huge hard off. And I was like, no, that's going off. And then Slow Seth is also a real bore.
Yeah, and let us preface this by saying some of you out there might feel that the wrap-up show has certain, the real Vicky Vincent or the real Bobby Blotzer, and you don't want to hear those segments. Perfect, awesome. That's why they're their own segments, and you can just hit skip and go on to the next thing. Maybe you don't want to hear us talk about album versus album on some albums you've already heard of or already have your opinions of. Totally cool. For me, and I'm not knocking them. That's what I'm saying. They can feel free to do it. They're getting viewers doing that shit, talking about crappy movies and weird shit, the sharks and the snakes and the plains and the swamps and the vampires and the whatever horror movies. Cool. Get into it, dude.
Right.
It's just going some areas where evil doesn't. I like some horror movies, but the ones I like are the old school classics and all this new shit. Last 20 or 30 years is full of crap. I don't
like those goofy, what are they, like the Sharknado bullshit, stupid goofy.
I've never spent a single second watching any of that stuff.
Right.
Snakes on Planes, never seen it. Again, I probably checked out whenever, the late 80s, early 90s when the last Freddy's and Jason's and all that shit were going on. And that was where I kind of just, I don't know, somewhere in the 90s, it started getting stupid. And I just stopped watching. And also, let's be straight. Evil's not the kind of guy. I'm into music and music.
Right.
That's what Evil's into. So I don't really have any, when you start going off into other things, it kind of,
And then that's what's been weird about that show, that it evolved. It's like, just change the name then, because it's not a classic metal show anymore.
Well, that's my point. Like when we really get down to the brass tacks, less than 20 or 25% of their show is actually discussing anything current or metal related, or even old metal music related, or whatever music in general. It's usually like social topics, political topics, chicks, my life, your life, stories of what I've been doing with Dawn. And that's really what it's boiled down to. Again, it suffers, and they're obviously not listening to us. They're obviously not watching us. Well, we think someone may be watching us on some burner accounts. Sure. We have some suspicions.
Sure. Right.
But, if you're hearing this, just, God, get Tim James on for a segment. Get Ozzy Ace on the phone. Find a way to get Bob Leather to send you a message or something. Do something.
Get Lou from the Lou. Get Barden on there.
I'll take what was that chick singer, Veronica with a V or whatever?
Oh, Veronica.
Yeah, I mean, anything. I'll take any of those people chiming in and talking about something else other than what Wendell watched. Yeah. I don't want to know what he watched. I don't care, bro.
And real quick for the record on that one, I did hear on Trunk, though, he was talking about that documentary of the fellow that it plays the Jimi Hendrix role in Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin. Is it Led Zeppelin Evening? I think it's the
or Experience,
now,
or he changed around a few times. Yeah.
So
An evening of Led Zeppelin. I believe, right
something
now.
like that. But either way, the documentary is called Mr. Jimmy, and I guess it's a Japanese guitar player that plays the page role. So I did rent it. It was only like $1.50 on Amazon Prime. So I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to watch it just based on Sir Edward's recommendation. Plus, I'm a Zeppelin fan. I mean, a big fan of the first record through Physical Graffiti, pretty much. I guess I think highly of them, but not as high apparently as Wendell and Aiken.
Yeah,
do.
and make no bones about it. Like, okay, here's my take. People mostly go on about Led Zeppelin 1 and 2 and how groundbreaking they were. And I think that they're cool albums, but they're overplayed to me. I've heard Black Dog and these songs so many. I don't need to hear this stuff anymore. This is why I like Physical Graffiti. We get into an album with 20-something tracks, deep tracks, things they're not going to play live, things that people are not putting on the radio. And that's where Evil starts to geek out and get into somewhat that Jimmy Page and Bonzo were doing. But again, I'm not even knocking Pagey, man. He's a hell of a guitar player. Wrote some killer riffs. If you can't fucking recognize that Kashmir is one of the coolest chord progressions in the history of rock and roll, then you're an idiot. Hello, come on. What I'm saying is the dude in his 20s, let's say, was dating chicks in their young teens. And that's cool in the 74 when no one knew and there's no internet and whatever, and her parents signed off to go on tour with you. Okay. But now he's like 70. What's the chick? 32? 36 he's married, so he's clearly in any terms, by where I've grown up with a law enforcement family, you're bordering at some point in time on pedo behavior, bro.
But wait a minute, according to Wendell, she's too old.
Well, exactly.
36?
That's why I was surprised that Page would even
God.
go that far. Yeah, that's like, oh, and that makes you question Wendell because you're 62 or something, right, bro, or whatever.
Right.
So you're going after chicks that are literally. Okay, I'm not even gonna get into it. It's just weird.
Right.
It's just weird
It's
behavior
weird.
to me. I'm not saying you can't date someone younger. I'm not even saying that. If it's legal by the law, I'm not here to go around telling you what to do. I'm just saying if it was my daughter, you'd hear about it. Again, 10 years either way, okay, age just a number. Da, da, da. My daughter is 22 and comes back with a fucking 50 or 60-year-old manager. New
No
dude.
shit.
It'd be the last time he's gonna see me.
Right.
Let's just
Raise your horns high.